Hello there and welcome back. Today's video we are going to be playing with the Tarte Cosmetics Icy Betch palette. I just got this one in the mail. I ordered mine from Sephora and I'm super excited to test this one out. You guys know this is the palette that has caused all of the controversy, so I'm excited to open this up and give it a try. We'll be testing it out on the eyes. I'll show you guys swatches and some information on the palette, so why don't we go ahead and get started. Bit of a disclaimer really quickly before we start is that I have been up since 5 a.m. This makeup you see currently has been on my face since about 5:30 a.m. It's currently about 7 p.m. I've done no touch-ups whatsoever. I applied some powder to my lid so that we could try out these eyeshadows, but I just got this in the mail from Sephora. I was actually at a baseball game all day, freezing my butt off. It was so cold, but I got this and I was like, I still want to play with it, so I'm actually going to test it out still, so don't mind my crusty, dusty face. So this is the Tarte Icy Betch palette. Here is the outer packaging. I haven't opened mine up yet, but I love the packaging and it's so cute. Here is what the packaging of the palette looks like. Isn't that fun? It's like a holographic palette. And so this is the one that they teased. It was last April Fool's. They teased this. They showed us like this little palette. I'll put it on the screen here. They showed us this palette here and everyone got so excited and then they were like, April Fool's, just a joke. And we're like, why would you do that? Like, people were actually excited about that bright of a palette from Tarte. And so this year on April Fool's, they actually came out with this palette, which is kind of their rendition of that other palette they showed us. It has the same name. The front of it looks the same, but the actual palette itself is a little bit different. So instead of it being similar to like their Toasted palette or the In Bloom palette, it's actually like this one right here, which is kind of like the, I'm feeling like mine isn't very sturdy, but this one is kind of like the Styled by Her Rouge palette, which I'll show you guys in a second. So it's that kind of style. So we have inside of here, you actually have a highlight, and then you also have 9 different shades. So there is a total of 5 different matte shades, and then they are calling them the luster toppers, which are going to be the shimmers in this palette. And then you also have one highlight as well. You do get a mirror in here. Mine is kind of squeaky, like it doesn't, I don't know why, but it seems like it's going to fall apart. It doesn't feel like very sturdy. And also I noticed that my top, when you look at it, I don't know if you guys will be able to tell, but it kind of looks like it's busted up here at the top and like it's coming undone. I don't know. It kind of has me curious if this is a packaging that they're like reusing. Here is the Styled by Her Rouge. So when I was saying that they're the same size, I haven't really seen Tarte do too many of this size of palettes. So this one isn't available anymore. It was limited edition and I feel like it's quite a few years old. But that's what kind of brought my mind back to this palette, was just the layout of that one. But this one feels really durable and something about this one just feels weird. It doesn't feel like Tarte's normal packaging. I'm sure the formula of the shadows is the same, but the packaging is a little less lackluster to me. I feel like it's a little bit cheap looking. This palette does retail for $23, so it's not going to be the most expensive palette ever, which actually kind of surprised me because most of Tarte's palettes retail for at least like the $30 to $40 range, mostly the $40 to $50, honestly. And I saw this at $23 and I was like, oh, maybe they're just lowering it to kind of like, you know, win people's hearts back after people were so mad. But I know you guys want to see me actually swatch the shades and everything like that. I do just want to make note of the packaging because I'm looking at it like it looks kind of filmy. I want to pull this up though. Is that weird? I kind of want to pull this up and see. You know, you see those videos where people are like, ah, there's another thing underneath it. And it's like, I never want to be that person. But it just seems on here so flimsy, like it's literally just like coming up. So anyways, let's go ahead and swatch the shades so we can see what they look like. Alright, so here are all of the swatches in the Icy Betch palette. So we do have the highlight here on the end and then all of your shades. They swatched really, really nice. They smell like your typical Tarte formula. They smell like chocolate. I love the smell of them. I will say that the swatches are kind of interesting because looking at the palette, I do notice that these 2 deeper blue shades look pretty similar, but these 2 right here I thought looked quite a bit different. But in my swatches, you can't really, like you can kind of tell a slight difference between these 2, but it's like barely there. I think this one looks a little more blue. That one has like a tint of green in it. But so do these 2 right here, the deeper blues. Those ones look pretty close together too. Interesting. So I'm excited to try these on the eyes because I think the tones of this palette is me and a palette. I love blues, I love greens, and I'm excited to test this one out on the eyes. So let's go ahead and get into that. I'm going to first just go in with the bone shade in the palette, kind of just use that to set my lid further just to make sure I don't have any creasing or anything that I might have acquired throughout the day. This shade is going to be a little bit lighter than my skin tone, so it's actually going to look a little bit white. This one would be pretty as like an inner corner highlight as well. I think even my brows are struggling right now, honestly, you guys. I'm just so excited to play with this palette. I had to grab it just because I know it's been such a controversial little palette. I know a lot of you guys have thoughts on it. You'll have to let me know down below if you kind of feel like it's a little too late for Tarte to release this. Were you excited to see it? I know some people didn't love the layout of it, so I'm really curious to hear your guys' thoughts on it, what you think about it. So there's that first shade all laid out, and basically just using that as just like a first kind of go in with shade. And then for my very first shade, I'm gonna go into this light blue one right here and use that one kind of all over the lid. And Tarte's shadows are a little bit more powdery. I do know that from like using their other palettes, but I really enjoy their mattes in particular. Their shimmers are sometimes good and sometimes not so much. I have some palettes I absolutely love their shimmers in, and then I have some other palettes that I feel like they're a little lackluster. So I'll be curious to see how they perform in this palette. I really haven't watched anyone's reviews on it at all, so I'm kind of just coming in here dark and seeing what I think of it. But this shade so far, it's not as vibrant as I was thinking. It's definitely a pastel shade for sure, but I think it is building up nicely. All right, so now that we've got that shade down, I'm gonna go into a little bit of a smaller blending brush. I'm just gonna use this one from MAC, and I think I'm gonna go into that blue right here and use that shade all over my crease, and then I'm gonna deepen it up with that more aqua blue. And like I said, in the swatches, these both looked really close to each other, so I'll be curious to see. Blues are sometimes also a little bit more tricky to work with, so I'm gonna kind of pack these on my lid before I blend them out. Sometimes I feel like that works best with blues because I feel like sometimes when you blend them, they just turn into nothing. So I'm kind of just gonna go and pack this where I want it, and then I'll come in and blend it out after I kind of have it packed on the lid. Pretty much just putting it all over the lid, kind of into my crease. And I'm gonna go ahead and blend it out at this point. It really doesn't look that bad actually patting it in. So I'm just gonna kind of blend out these edges. And I just realized that with blues, I feel like in particular, they're a little bit harder. Like I said, if you kind of go in, they kind of tend to blend away. I'm not exactly sure if that's what's gonna happen with this palette, but I've noticed with just a lot of blues, that's what happens to me. So I think that this will probably just work best. So on this side, I am gonna try to blend it out the other way, and we'll see how it goes, just so we can see if that's something we can do as well. And see, it's kind of just giving more of like a wash on this side as opposed to the other side. It was kind of giving more of a punch when I first applied it. I think you can definitely still build it up and get the same intensity that we have on this side. I just think it's going to take a little bit more effort than it would to just pack it on and then blend it out. So it just depends on what you're more comfortable with, but for me, I prefer to just pack it on. All right, so now that we're looking really, really blue, I'm gonna go into the more like aqua green shade, this one right here, and I'm just going to further deepen that up and hope that it deepens it up, because like I said, the swatches, this one were pretty close. Yeah, okay, it is a little bit darker. Definitely looks better on the eye than it does in the swatches. On the swatches, you can't really see the green much at all. I feel like you can definitely tell the difference in the two shades of blue on the eye. That's why sometimes I don't always love basing things off swatches, because it's hard to tell. So I'm just packing this one on, and then again, I'll kind of blend it out. All right, and then I'm gonna go into the very deep blue right here and just put this one just on the outer portion and just kind of tap this here on the outer V and blend it in just to deepen that one up a little bit. Okay, so now for the shimmer, I'm thinking I want to use this green right here and then also this one right here and kind of combine those. So I think I'm going to use the green for the inner part, and then we'll use the more aqua blue on the outer edge. So I'm going to go ahead and go into the green. I am going to use this just on a flat shader brush, and then I am going to spritz my brush. I like to do this with any foiled shades. I think it just makes them look more pigmented, and I will go ahead and just apply this to the inner part of the eye. And then, like I said, we'll use the other blue on the outer edge. I definitely think it's matching well with the other shades we used. I'm gonna try it too with my finger and see how it applies. With my finger, I sometimes like doing that as well. I think I'm kind of getting the same payoff with my finger as I was with the brush. All right, so now that we've got the green, I'm gonna go in with just like this teal one, like I said, and work that onto the outer edge. I'm gonna try it dry first because I don't want it to be too foiled. And kind of just blend this one into the green. So for a lower lash line, I'm pretty much just gonna apply the same colors I used on the top. I just don't wanna go super heavy with them because the blue is already just really bold. So I am just gonna kind of dust those along the lower lash line. So we did get some fallout with the palette, but not that much, honestly, for using blues. I don't think it's bad at all. So I'm gonna dust this away. And I'm gonna go ahead and use for my inner corner, I'm actually gonna use the highlight in the palette, this one right here, and use that one just for my inner corner highlight. This one looks really pretty. It kind of looks like a straight, just like icy white. And then I want to try it out, obviously, on the face. I do have some highlight from this morning that honestly just disappeared. My bronzer looks awful. So I'm going to actually apply this to my face. I'm just going to use my regular highlighting brush and see how that works. It's definitely an icy shade. Like, it kind of goes with the palette for sure. It's a very white shade, but I think this would look good on like more fair skin tones, and also it looks decent on my medium skin tone as well. I don't think it's like too white. It actually looks pretty good. All right, so I threw a quick nude lip on, and I actually do like the way that this eye look came out. I love the green and the blue together. It's definitely giving me like mermaid vibes. I really like the inner corner highlight. I also think it looks really pretty on the face as well. So just kind of telling you guys like my final thoughts on this little like first impressions is packaging wise, I obviously think they could have done better. Maybe it's just my palette that's having issues. I'm not really sure, but I think it just kind of looks kind of cheap, honestly, with it like stuck on here like this. And it's not what I'm used to from Tarte. Normally their packaging is something that I never have an issue with and I always love. So maybe it comes with like the price of the palette, I'm not really sure. So for $23, you do get the 10 shades, which I don't think is bad for the regular Tarte formula. I do think that these shades are true to their normal formula, their Amazonian clay. Eyeshadows, I think that they performed really nicely. You do get this nice quality mirror in here. I like the fact that it has the highlight. I don't mind this layout. I think it's cool. I mean, I know that there's less shades in this one and it's just a different layout in general than the other palettes. I don't mind it. I still feel like I can go in here and create some fun looks with this. I really like the one that we did come up with. I think it's different. It's unique. I know they wanted something different from Tarte and I feel like they kind of delivered it. It did take them a minute, but hey, at least they gave it to us. So, I mean, I would recommend this palette for the $23. I don't think it's bad. I think the quality is good. I do think that the packaging, however, could use some work, unless if this is just a bad batch for me. I'm not exactly sure, so I don't want to say it's everyone's is going to come ripped like this, but maybe it just got a bad batch from Sephora. But that is going to do it for this little mini review on the Tarte ICY BETCH palette. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you are happy with the fact that I got this up fast. I know a lot of you guys told me you were excited to see my review on this, so I will continue to test out the palette and come back and let you guys know my thoughts. Please give this one a thumbs up if you did enjoy it. Also, don't forget to subscribe before you go, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye, friends. I am honestly gonna go soak my feet and take a shower and also lay on the couch and put a heater on me because I'm freezing.